Hey guys, it's Bill from Linden, Tennessee. Well, this video was actually going to start about 15 minutes ago, but my uncle calls me right as I'm about to press record. Thanks, Chris. Anyway, I guess it goes without saying that I've got this thing all done, but a few minor details. Of course, I need to put the decals on. I don't have any lights for the front. I do have the lights, but they're like the factory lights, and they're really dim. I'm gonna see if I can't find some cool round LEDs. This bottom grill, maybe people who know, I think it should be black. That way it'll match that one. Or even if I could find some similar punched steel like that. Anyway, I think that'd be cool if it was black. Yeah, all the way around here. Of course, I've got the requisite dents from putting this back body on. I mean, is it even possible to put this body on, take it off without scratching something up? I scratched my little knob and scratched my little brake pedal over there, of course. I managed to save this without scratching it. But one design flaw that I have, oh yeah, I need some tail lights. I've got these little ovally ones, but when I was taking this thing apart, one of the first things I did was knock the damn body over, and I broke the lights off of knocked it over. Anyway, one design flaw that I had that I'm gonna have to do something about is there's no clearance in there for my little electric power takeoff, so that kind of sucks. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna make a little bracket that sort of sticks out here. There's two holes already drilled right there, so I'll make a little bracket that bolts to those holes, and this will just rest on it flat. It's kind of a bummer because these cables are cut to, you know, a specific length to go up there without any binding and lay flat, but now they aren't like that, so that's annoying. But anyway, that is something to do. I ground the paint off of my discs, but hey, without further ado, let's see how this thing goes. Well, okay, that was kind of fun. No viral videos. I told my wife, who's being cameraman, that if anything happens and this thing's ended up in the trees and I end up on my back, just go ahead and keep on rolling. We'll make a viral video. But fortunately, none of that happened. Yeah, so that was a kind of educational. I need to get in there and do some programming on the controller. Hopefully, there's a little plug somewhere in here. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to reach it with this thing on there. That sucks if I can't. Damn. Well, I'll have to take that side panel off. But yeah, I need to go in there and program the throttle curve because it's obviously very jumpy. But so like I said, I needed to go in here. I need to adjust the throttle curve a little bit. This is an Alltrax controller, and this is the Alltrax toolkit. And this is really simple. This is a free download that you get off of their website, and it's super simple. You don't have to have power connected to this thing or anything. You just plug it's like a square printer USB. I don't know much about computers, but anyway, you just plug the thing in there, pull up the deal, and it recognizes the controller, and away you go. And there's all sorts of settings you can do on this. The key switch on, in this case, you want it at least 37 volts. Key switch is actually 48 volts as far as the controller is concerned. So as long as it's more than 37 volts, this thing will come on. And under voltage, if the battery voltage hits 38, then I guess this thing will just shut off. I don't know. But if it hits that low, then I've really over discharged this battery. And an over voltage is 60. and that'll never happen because my charger won't charge that fast, and this doesn't have regen, so I can't do that. And there's a secondary switch that you can have on this that I'm going to actually attach to the brake. There's a switch for the clutch. Whenever this thing was gas, you had to push the clutch pedal down before you can start it. Well, I'm going to have that switch go to this secondary switch, and if this ends up in a situation where the throttle pedal gets stuck or whatever, then as soon as you push the brake, then the controller will shut power to the motor and you won't die. Because at the moment, if that throttle pedal did happen to get stuck during my little video, then I would have died. But with that switch, you push the brake and you'll stop. Then you can set the maximum motor amps. This is a 400 amp controller, so 400 amps. Then the max forward speed, 100%. Doesn't have reverse, so it doesn't matter. And then the throttle rate, I'm not exactly sure what that is, but I'm going to skip that anyway. I'm going to do a custom throttle. And previously, on my first attempt at driving this thing that you saw, this curve was up here somewhere. So you might call that an algorithm, what would that be? Exponential curve up here somewhere. And then this red line represents just a linear curve, and then this is the curve that I just adjusted it to. I guess this would be logarithmic, or I don't know. I don't know much about math either, but this drastically improved the throttle response. So at lower throttles, if you can see I'm moving this down, at lower throttles, it has less, it sends less power to the motor, and that just gives you a little bit more control. So I'll set this up so it does something like this, and I'm just kind of making the curve look pretty. I don't know if this is actually any good or not, but I think up to about 50% is a good low speed curve. And then once I get up to roughly here, maybe 79% is what it is. I've got that set at 50%. So at 1% throttle, there's 0 torque, 18% is 3, 32 is 7, etc., etc. I think you can manually enter these numbers too, so I wouldn't have to move. Anywho, I just wanted to show you how this works. So, in the way you do that, and then you go over here and you push set. Wait for the thing to stop being blue. It made a noise for some reason. I don't know why it did that. There you go, it stopped being blue. Then you go ahead and you pull this out of there. Put the computer back up here where it goes. And then you jump on it and you see what happens. Let's do that, shall we? The way you start this thing, just come down to the key switch, turn it on, put her in reverse. Should probably try and remember to always have it in neutral whenever I turn it on, just in case it decides to come on. And then, now if you see the amount of, well, you can't see it, but I'm moving the throttle pretty much a lot just to get it to go. And I can already tell that's much better. Now, we put her in, we put it in first, it's just really, really slow. So I doubt I'll even ever use first. The third gear is probably where it'll live. That's much better, yep. The front tires have about 30 pounds of pressure in it, so that's very bumpy. So I need to take that out. But yeah, here we go, just driving around. Look at my amps here, if you can see my amps there. That was 30 amps, and 30 amps with 50 volts is, I don't know, what is that, 1500 watts. So that's about 2 horsepower. And right now I'm pulling 11 amps. That's about half a horsepower. So yeah, this works pretty dang good. This is much better. This is very controllable. And something that I wanted to try, and I'm in third gear here, so I could go a whole lot faster, but I'm not going to do it right now, just because I'm scared. One thing I wanted to try, I do have this throttle set up. Ooh. So Artie, my 4x4, has regenerative braking, so when you let off of the gas pedal, the thing stops, so this doesn't. So I wanted to see what I've got a throttle here that I can adjust. And maybe what I'm hoping is that this throttle will be a nice way to modulate speed when I'm cutting the grass. The only problem with that is if I need to, if I need to slow down for whatever. Oh, I see. Well, that doesn't work because as soon as it gets a load, the controller doesn't monitor the motor speed and give it more power, so that's not going to work for me. Anyway, so that was very successful. I'm going to go ahead and throw the panels back on here, take some pressure out of the tires, and I think I'm going to roll this thing outside so I can get a kind of a far away view of it, and go ahead and put my decals on. Got my decals here. That'll definitely spiff it up nicely. I kind of wanted to get a decal that covers that hole. I don't have a creeper gear, and I'm not going to ever get one. And so it'd kind of be cool to have a gear sticker that covers that hole. I don't have a lift, so raising and lower, and I don't have a, press the starter pedal before you go, and all these cautions don't apply. So it'd kind of be neat to have a custom sticker there. I've got a little town and shop that does, a little shop in town. I'm kind of excited, sorry. A little shop in town that makes custom stickers like this. So I'll probably redo the caution things, and I'll also have a little bit of instruction on how to do the quote choke knob and then the PTO. But yeah, so that is super successful. Thrilled to death with that. So I'm gonna go ahead and start putting some stickers on. And all right, guys, well, I think that's going to be it for this time. Thanks for watching. See you next time.